What happens when a Hollywood legend walks onto a talk show, set expecting a conversation, and instead walks into an ambush? In just 36 seconds, one host's disrespectful comment would trigger the most shocking walk-off in daytime television history. The studio lights were blazing hot that morning. Clint Eastwood sat in the guest chair, calm and collected as always. He had come to talk about his latest film, a passion project about American heroes. The audience applauded warmly as he settled in. The panel sat before him. Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, and Alyssa Farah Griffin. Everything seemed normal at first. Whoopi started things off friendly enough. "Clint, it's great to have you here. Tell us about this new movie." Clint smiled that familiar half-smile. "Well, it's a story that needed to be told. It's about sacrifice, honor, and what it means to serve something bigger than yourself." The audience clapped. It was a good start. But then Joy leaned forward in her chair with that look, the one that said, trouble was coming. "So Clint," Joy said, her voice dripping with sarcasm, "another one of your patriotic fantasies? Don't you think we've had enough of these propaganda pieces?" The studio went quiet. You could hear the uncomfortable shifting in seats. Clint's expression didn't change much, but his eyes narrowed just slightly. "It's not propaganda, Joy. It's honoring real people who made real sacrifices," Clint replied, his voice steady and controlled. Joy waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, please. You Hollywood types always wrap yourselves in the flag when you run out of original ideas. It's tired, Clint. It's really tired." Sonny jumped in, trying to redirect. "I think what Joy is trying to say is..." "I know exactly what Joy is trying to say," Clint interrupted calmly. "And I respectfully disagree. There's nothing tired about telling stories of courage." But Joy wasn't done. She leaned back with a smirk. "Courage? You want to talk about courage? You made millions playing tough guys with guns. What do you know about real courage?" The audience gasped. Sarah's eyes went wide. Alyssa looked down at her notes, clearly uncomfortable. Whoopi opened her mouth to intervene, but Joy kept going. "I mean seriously," Joy continued, gaining momentum. "You've spent your whole career glorifying violence, and now you want us to take you seriously as some kind of moral authority?" Clint sat there for a moment. His jaw tightened. When he spoke, his voice was low and measured. "Joy, I've never claimed to be a moral authority. I'm a filmmaker. I tell stories, and the people in this particular story deserve to have their story told." "Deserve?" Joy laughed. Actually laughed. "Let me tell you what people deserve. They deserve health care. They deserve living wages. They don't deserve another Hollywood cowboy lecturing them about patriotism." Whoopi finally stepped in. "Okay, Joy, maybe we should..." "No, no, let her finish," Clint said, holding up his hand. "I want to hear this." Joy looked thrilled to have the floor. "Fine. You want to hear it? Here it is. Your generation had your time, your outdated values, your simplistic worldview, your obsession with guns and glory. It's all past its expiration date. We're trying to move forward, and people like you keep dragging us backward." The other hosts looked mortified. Sunny shook her head slightly. Sarah bit her lip. Alyssa stared at the table. Even the audience seemed stunned into silence. Clint remained composed. "That's quite a speech, Joy. Tell me something. Have you ever actually served your country? Have you ever put yourself in harm's way for something you believed in?" Joy scoffed. "Oh, here we go with the 'you haven't served' argument. That's so predictable." "It's a simple question," Clint said. "I serve my country every day by speaking truth to power," Joy shot back. "I don't need to put on a uniform to be a patriot." "Speaking truth to power," Clint repeated slowly. "Is that what you call insulting a guest on your show? Interesting definition." Whoopi tried again. "Listen, everyone, let's take a breath here, and..." Joy cut her off. "No, Whoopi. Our guest here thinks he can come on this show and feed us his right-wing talking points, and we're just supposed to smile and nod. Well, I'm not doing it. Clint's eyebrows raised. Right-wing talking points? I haven't mentioned politics once. I came here to talk about a film that honors veterans. That's not political, Joy. That's human. Everything is political, Joy declared, pointing her finger at him. And your whole tough guy act is just a cover for the same old conservative nonsense. My tough guy act? Clint's voice remained calm, but there was an edge to it now. You don't know anything about me, Joy. You've decided who I am based on characters I've played. That's pretty shallow, don't you think? Sarah tried to lighten things. Maybe we could talk about the actual film. I'd love to hear about the cast. Joy wasn't having it. The cast? Who cares about the cast? I want to know why Clint here thinks America needs another movie celebrating militarism. Celebrating militarism? Clint shook his head. You really haven't listened to a word I've said. This film isn't celebrating war. It's honoring the people who answered the call when their country needed them. There's a difference. Oh, spare me the semantics, Joy said, rolling her eyes. You know what your movies do? They make violence look cool. They make war look heroic. And then young people go off and get themselves killed because of fantasies sold to them by people like you. The studio was dead silent. That was a line crossed, and everyone knew it. Clint stared at Joy for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, but firm. That is completely out of line. Joy shrugged. Truth hurts, doesn't it? Sonny reached over and touched Joy's arm. Joy, come on. Joy pulled her arm away. Don't, Joy. Come on me. I'm tired of tiptoeing around these people. They come on our show. They use our platform, and they spread their dated ideologies. Their dated ideologies? Clint said. You mean respect? Honor? Sacrifice? Those are dated? When they're used to justify endless wars and military spending while people can't afford medicine, then yes, they're dated, Joy fired back. Alyssa finally spoke up. I think we're getting off track here. Can we please just... Stay out of this, Alyssa, Joy snapped. Whoopi's voice got firm. Hey, that's enough. Joy, you need to dial it back. Why? Joy challenged. Because I'm making our guest uncomfortable? Good. Maybe he should be uncomfortable. Maybe he should have to answer for the impact his movies have had. Clint stood up slowly. The movement was deliberate, controlled. He reached up and removed his microphone with careful precision. What are you doing? Joy asked, suddenly looking less confident. I'm leaving, Clint said simply. I came here to have a respectful conversation about a film I care about. Instead, I've been insulted, lectured, and accused of things that are frankly ridiculous. Whoopi stood up too. Clint, please, don't go. We can reset this. Joy, apologize. Joy crossed her arms. I'm not apologizing for speaking my truth. Your truth, Clint repeated, shaking his head with something like disappointment. You know what, Joy? I've met a lot of people in my life. Good people, bad people, everything in between. But I've rarely met someone so convinced of their own righteousness that they can't show basic respect to another human being. Oh, don't play the victim, Joy said. You're a rich, powerful, white man. You'll be fine. This has nothing to do with any of that, Clint replied. This is about decency, something you seem to be lacking. Sarah stood up now. Clint, please, we're not all... I know you're not, Clint said, his tone softening slightly as he looked at her, then at Sonny and Alyssa. And I appreciate that, but I'm not going to sit here and be disrespected. Joy laughed bitterly. Disrespected? I asked you tough questions. That's what journalists do. No, Clint said, turning to face her directly. Journalists ask tough questions with respect. They challenge ideas, not people's character. You attacked me personally from the moment you opened your mouth. You made assumptions. You put words in my mouth, and you showed complete contempt for me as a person. That's not journalism, Joy. That's just being mean. The audience started murmuring. Some people were nodding. Others looked shocked. "I'm not mean," Joy protested, but her voice wavered slightly. "I'm passionate." "There's a difference between passion and rudeness," Clint said. "You crossed that line about 5 minutes ago." Whoopi moved toward him. "Clint, I'm asking you. Please stay. Let me moderate this properly. We can have a real conversation." Clint looked at Whoopi with genuine respect. "Whoopi, I appreciate that. I really do. But I've been around long enough to know when a situation isn't going to improve. And this," he gestured at Joy, "isn't going to improve." Joy stood up suddenly, her chair scraping loudly. "Fine. Leave then. Run away. That's what people like you do when you can't handle being challenged." "Challenged?" Clint's voice rose slightly for the first time. "Joy, you haven't challenged me. You've insulted me. There's a difference. A challenge would involve actually listening to what I have to say instead of waiting for your turn to attack." "I listened," Joy insisted. "No, you didn't," Sunny said quietly. All eyes turned to her. "Joy, I love you, but you didn't listen to a single thing he said. You came in with your mind made up and you attacked him." Joy looked betrayed. "Sunny?" "It's true," Sarah added, her voice gentle but firm. "This wasn't fair to him." Alyssa nodded. "She's right, Joy. This was too much." Joy looked around at her fellow hosts, then at Clint, then at the audience. For a moment something flickered across her face. Doubt, maybe, or shame, but it disappeared quickly, replaced by defiance. "So now you're all turning on me," Joy said. "Great, just great." "Nobody's turning on you," Whoopi said. "But they're right. You went too far." Clint picked up his jacket from the back of his chair. "I'm going to go now. Whoopi, it was good to see you. Ladies," he nodded at Sarah, Sunny, and Alyssa. "Thank you for trying." He started walking toward the exit. The audience sat in stunned silence. You could hear his footsteps on the stage floor. "Oh, walk away," Joy called after him. "That's right. Can't handle a strong woman with opinions." Clint stopped. He turned around slowly. When he spoke, his voice was calm, but carried across the entire studio. "Joy, I've worked with strong women my entire career. I've been directed by them, I've acted alongside them, I've learned from them. Strong women don't hide behind their opinions to justify bad behavior. Strong women don't confuse cruelty with courage. And strong women certainly don't need to tear others down to feel powerful." The audience erupted. Some people gasped. Others started applauding. The applause grew louder. Joy's face went red. "How dare you?" "How dare I what?" Clint asked. "Tell you the truth? Give you some of your own medicine? You've spent the last 15 minutes judging me, lecturing me, and insulting me. And when I finally respond, you act outraged?" Whoopi stepped between them. "Okay, that's enough. From both of you. Clint, I'm sorry this happened. Joy, sit down." "I don't need to sit down," Joy said. "Yes, you do," Whoopi said firmly. "Sit down." Joy sat, but her expression was furious. Clint looked at Whoopi one more time. "I meant what I said about the film. These people's stories matter. I hope some of your viewers will still give it a chance, despite all this." "They will," Whoopi said. "And Clint, for what it's worth, I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry for her behavior," Clint said. "That's on her, not you." He turned and walked off the stage. The cameras followed him until he disappeared behind the curtain. The studio remained silent for several long seconds. Finally, Whoopi turned to the camera. "We're going to take a break." But before they could cut away, Joy spoke up. "Good riddance. We don't need his kind here anyway." Sunny's head whipped around. "Joy, what is wrong with you?" "Nothing is wrong with me," Joy said. "I refuse to coddle these people." "These people," Sarah repeated. "Joy, he's a human being. You treated him terribly. I treated him like he deserved, Joy insisted. Alyssa shook her head. No, Joy. You treated him the way you accuse other people of treating you. You became exactly what you claim to fight against. That's ridiculous, Joy said, but she wouldn't look at any of them. Whoopi's voice cut through. You know what? We're going to commercial. Now. The cameras finally cut away, but the damage was done. The audience had witnessed the entire thing. The tension in the studio was thick enough to cut with a knife. Backstage, Clint was removing his guest badge when a production assistant approached him nervously. Mr. Eastwood, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about what happened out there. Clint smiled at the young woman. Not your fault, but thank you. For what it's worth, she continued, a lot of us back here think what she did was really unfair. I appreciate that, Clint said, but don't worry about me. I've dealt with worse. Still, the assistant said, you handled it with a lot of class. Clint chuckled softly. Well, at my age, you learn that losing your temper rarely makes things better, even when someone deserves it. Back on the stage, the commercial break was almost over. The host sat in uncomfortable silence. Finally, Joy spoke. I don't understand why everyone is mad at me. I was just asking tough questions. Joy, Whoopi said, her patience clearly wearing thin, there's a difference between tough questions and a personal attack. You know that. He came on the show representing values I disagree with, Joy said. He came on this show to talk about a movie, Sonny corrected. You made it about politics. You made it personal. And you were disrespectful. Joy crossed her arms. I have a right to my opinion. Of course you do, Sarah said. But you don't have the right to treat guests like garbage. That's not what we do here. Speak for yourself, Joy muttered. Alyssa leaned forward. Joy, I'm the newest one here, so maybe I shouldn't say this. But I'm going to anyway. What you did, out there, that's not brave. That's not speaking truth to power. That's just being a bully. Joy's eyes went wide. A bully? You're calling me a bully? If the shoe fits, Alyssa said quietly. We're back in 30 seconds, a producer called out. Whoopi looked at Joy seriously. When we come back, you're going to apologize to the audience for what they just witnessed. Not to Clint since he's gone, but to them. They deserve better than what just happened. I'm not apologizing, Joy said stubbornly. Then you're sitting this segment out, Whoopi said. Your choice. Joy looked shocked. You can't do that. Watch me, Whoopi said. The lights came back on. The cameras went live. Whoopi took a breath and faced the audience. Welcome back, she said. As you all just saw, we had a difficult moment with our guest. I want to apologize to everyone watching for how that unfolded. Our job is to have conversations, even tough ones, but always with respect. That didn't happen today, and I'm sorry. The audience applauded, clearly appreciating the acknowledgement. Sarah spoke up next. I also want to apologize. Clint Eastwood is a legend in his field, and he deserved better treatment than he received. Sonny nodded. Absolutely. Disagreement is fine. Debate is healthy. But what happened crossed a line. Alyssa added, we can do better. We should do better. All eyes turned to Joy. She sat there, stone-faced, saying nothing. The silence stretched out awkwardly. Finally, Whoopi moved on. Let's talk about our next topic. But the audience wasn't interested in the next topic. The energy in the room had completely shifted. What should have been a pleasant interview about a new film had turned into a spectacle of disrespect and confrontation. Throughout the rest of the show, Joy remained mostly quiet. When she did speak, her comments were clipped and defensive. The chemistry between the hosts was off. Everyone could feel it. During another commercial break, Sarah turned to Joy. Are you really not going to acknowledge what happened? What do you want me to say? Joy asked. That I was wrong? I wasn't. You were rude, Sarah said simply. That's not up for debate. You were rude to a guest on our show. He'll survive, Joy said dismissively. That's not the point, Sonny interjected. The point is, we have standards. We have a responsibility to our guests and our audience, and you violated both today. Joy stood up suddenly. I don't have to listen to this. Actually, you do, Whoopi said, not looking up from her notes. Sit down, Joy. We have 2 more segments. Joy sat, but she was seething. The rest of the show limped along to its conclusion. The forced smiles, the awkward transitions, the palpable tension. It was all there for everyone to see. When the show finally ended, the hosts scattered quickly. There was none of the usual friendly chatter or post-show wind down. Joy left, immediately, not speaking to anyone. In the green room, the producers were already dealing with the fallout. The phones were ringing off the hook. Social media was exploding. The clip of Clint walking off was being shared thousands of times already. One of the senior producers watched the footage again, shaking her head. This is bad. This is really bad. What was she thinking? Another asked. She wasn't, came the reply. She was feeling, not thinking. The controversy would continue to grow throughout the day, but in that moment, in that studio, one thing was crystal clear. A legendary actor had come to share his work, and instead had been met with hostility and disrespect. And when pushed far enough, he had done what any person with self-respect would do. He had walked away. The exit wasn't dramatic in the Hollywood sense. There were no slammed doors or shouted final words. It was quiet, dignified, and somehow that made it more powerful. Clint Eastwood had proven that sometimes the strongest statement you can make is simply refusing to accept disrespect. As the studio emptied out and the lights dimmed, the chairs where the confrontation had taken place sat empty. The set looked the same as it always did, but something had changed. A line had been crossed, and everyone who had witnessed it knew that this was a moment that would be remembered. Not for the questions that were asked, but for the respect that was demanded, and the dignity that was maintained, even in the face of hostility. In a world where conflict often descends into chaos, Clint Eastwood had shown that there was still power in staying calm, speaking clearly, and knowing when to walk away. The microphone he had carefully removed still sat on the chair where he had placed it, a small reminder of a big moment. A moment when a Hollywood legend reminded everyone watching what it looks like to stand up for yourself without losing your composure. And somewhere, Joy Behar sat alone, convinced of her righteousness, unable or unwilling to see what everyone else had seen clearly. That in trying to prove she was strong, she had only proven she was small. In attempting to challenge a guest, she had only revealed her own insecurities. And in seeking to make a point, she had instead made a mistake, the kind of mistake that people would remember long after they forgot what the argument was even about.